Hey guys, this is Bob Smith with Rockerz Inc. We're going to try something new here and try to go off cusp and be a little bit raw. So one of the things that we deal with on LinkedIn and our social media is showing the end result in really nice pictures. But there's a lot of stuff that goes behind it and a lot of challenges. So I'm here with Dan Montoni, Vice President of Rockerz Inc.
I'm Dan Montoni.
He focuses a lot on the operation side and the project management side. Dan, what kind of challenges do you feel? Well, what are your biggest challenges walking into a project?
Up front is just all about the planning and make sure we're talking to not only project managers but also site supervisors, so there's no disconnect between back office and field. From that, we'll build phase planning so we know how much floor space we'll have, how we'll process it through. And inevitably, when we get to a job site, something's gone awry. One trade's laid here or something getting delivered there. So we have to be flexible and move guys around, which is typically no big deal. We don't need entire floor spaces. We need sections of floor spaces. And our guys are incentivized to work well with others, and it works out pretty well. But that is, scheduling wise, is the biggest challenge.
So with that said, I think some of my biggest challenges with that is as we communicate these different projects, my main goal is set the expectation for said client or said project. And sometimes it's not about what they want to hear, it's sometimes what they have to hear or they need to hear. And you really set yourself up for success when you're doing so.
People appreciate honesty.
Yeah, and how to say that is probably the biggest challenge in getting them to buy into that.
And along those lines, you're telling them, we'll take this long in a perfect world. And the reality is sometimes things happen that has nothing to do with us. So we always pad our schedule. So when you look at a schedule and you're telling somebody we'll be here this day, you go, I got to fudge that another day. The worst part will be giving them good news and coming a little bit early if we can.
Right.
And those are always the challenges.
Is there anything specific that you think you can recall off the top of your head of a particular issue that we have overcome that was probably the most pressing?
Yeah, our friend brought us a Jacksonville job. There was specifications in a ramp that exceeded our typical ADA requirements and what they asked for. And from the architectural side, I saw this really complex, drawn-out, multi-angled ramp to give them 2 degrees pitch on 6-foot fall with a 36-inch plateau for a chair to rest comfortably on a wheelchair and not roll forward or backwards as the doors open and close. And after talking it through with the site super, we went back to the architect and said, we'll build a table for that 36-inch within 3/8 of an inch of its profile height. And then from there, once that cures out, we'll prep it, and then we'll put self-leveling over top of that. And then what we did is we recessed the perimeter they needed for that fall. And then we just worked the material. It would want to roll down. We'll roll it back up until it started getting viscous and the cementitious material started going off. And it just gave it its natural fall without all these compound angles in 3 different pores. And they loved it. They were tickled to death. And that's practical application of what's out there versus the really pretty design thing. It looked good on paper, but almost impossible and cost prohibitive to actually do it that way. And that was this past month.
It's always interesting, and I do remember that project. And what's stated on an email conversation or a phone conversation is completely different than when you're walking on site. And those are some of the challenges that I agree with that we would have to walk through on each project. And it does require, daily meetings, sometimes weekly meetings. But at the end of the day, it's the end picture that we're showing on LinkedIn and our social media and our website. And there's a lot of things that go behind it.
Oh, on that job also, we had to put epoxy flooring in one section of it for the food prep, and it needed an integral cove base, but they didn't have walls up yet. So we had to make a temporary wall that they would abut the new wall to, and then and that's happened a couple times where we just we'll put the hardy board up and they'll drop the drywall to it, and so they have a cove base, and when they finish the wall, everything looks great. But it's chicken and the egg. How do you sequence events all the time?
Yeah. For more information on how we can help you out, check out our website at www.rockerzinc.com.